Bitcoin at $57,000. We have German government selling Bitcoin. We have MT.GOX news and a whole lot of fear in the market. So let's understand what's going on with crypto. Hello everyone, welcome back. No video yesterday because of an exporting error, but we have amazing news for today. So this is a same day video that you're watching. We're doing a very quick cover on Bitcoin and crypto news right now because overnight Bitcoin fell 5%. Right now Bitcoin is at 56,852. Ethereum is at a 3K. We haven't seen Ethereum on 3K for a long time. BNB at 512. Solana at 130. So new crypto investors are most likely going crazy, going nuts on these huge overnight red candles. So let's go through a few news, a few information articles, why Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other altcoins, why are they going down, what's going on. So we're going to be covering this in maybe a shorter, not so much edited video, but let's dive right into it. So German government, wallets that are labeled as German governments, they started selling a lot of Bitcoin. First of all, they transferred 1,300 Bitcoin across 3 different crypto exchanges. We had Coinbase, Kraken, and Bitstamp. So this 1,600 Bitcoin that came out, this address, this wallet that was labeled as the German government was transferred to these 3 exchanges. Overall, there was a total of 3K Bitcoin, so 3,000 Bitcoin. 1,300 went to centralized exchanges and 1,700 were transferred to another separate wallet. This Bitcoin was cryptocurrency confiscated from illegal activities. I think it was from Movie 4K, something like that. It was a piracy website. So the piracy website owners, they had Bitcoin seized from them. So the German government had this Bitcoin and now it is liquidating. So it is just dumping on the market. So right now it dumped 1,300 Bitcoin in the market, but that wallet has held 50,000 Bitcoin in its lifetime. So there's a lot still to be dumped, and a lot has been dumped across weeks and months on the span of 2024. But still, we have a lot more Bitcoin in this address from the German government, and occasionally it sells that Bitcoin. You know, that also happens in the US government. We have people buying over-the-counter Bitcoin from the Silk Road, from other dark web websites that were shut down, and the government seized their assets. So a lot of people actually bought Bitcoin over the counter from the US government itself instead of the government dumping Bitcoin on the market. That creates a lot of sell pressure because the US is not going to go and do separate orders, you know, to split the pressure. Instead of having just a huge dump, they're just gonna sell it all. So the same thing is happening with the German government. And actually Justin Sun proposed that he was gonna buy the whole shebang, was gonna buy all the Bitcoin that the German government has over the counter to relieve selling pressure from the markets itself. So I don't think the German government will accept this, to be honest. I don't think they're trying to trade, you know, they just want to sell it off and get the money. So I don't think they're going to go through with that. But German government is having a huge impact on the selling pressure for Bitcoin because they're dumping on the markets with the Bitcoin that they have. And this news, we got it from PackShield Alert and also from Arkham. So they monitor a couple of addresses and they see when there's a big movement or there's a weird movement happening, they're going to post that on Twitter and then everyone can go and see on chain what's actually happening. But what about MT.GOX? If you don't know what MT.GOX is, I can make a video about that explaining, but it is too long to explain right now. But basically MT.GOX was an exchange back in 2013, 2014, and there was a huge fraud investigation, a huge fraud that happened, and then they shut down. But a lot of that Bitcoin was later on recovered, and there's a huge amount, 70% of the whole volume of Bitcoin back then was through MT.GOX. So they had a lot of Bitcoin stored, a lot of Bitcoin was with them, and the US government actually seized a lot of this. There's a lot of payback happening, and a lot of this payback was going to happen this month. This is actually one of the reasons that Bitcoin right now, it is dumping a little bit, and this brings us to the next point. Where will Bitcoin go? So with MT.GOX repayments, with the German government dumping and a lot of whales. We had one whale on July 2nd that sold 700 Bitcoin, and then we had another whale that sold 1,000 Bitcoin or something like that. There's a lot of whales also exiting the market. This brings us to where will Bitcoin go? The other video that I recorded that we had issues exporting, on that one I talked about a bear trap, but the bear trap that we envisioned was at a level of 60K. But now with Bitcoin below 60K, actually right now at 57,000, we asked ourselves, where will it stop? And actually a lot of people are saying that 50K is the next line down. So all the way from the 70K that we had just a few months ago, we most likely are going to be touching again the 50K, and that could be scary for you if you are a first timer here in crypto. Bitcoin also lost the 200-day trend line moving average for the first time in 10 months. And when it usually happens, we tend to see that red candle that we are seeing right now. A lot of people are actually saying that this is just a shakeout. What is a shakeout? Well, it is actually when a lot of people exit the market, they take profits, and that what happens. Huge selling pressure. And we saw the selling pressure with what we just talked about, the German government, whales dumping, MT.GOX. And because there's a huge red candle, there's also a huge green candle right after, because whoever is smart, whoever knows and wants to hold more Bitcoin, they see this as a once in a lifetime entry price for accumulating more Bitcoin. So because there's a huge selling pressure, a lot of people that have capital, they can allocate that capital. They can say, well, now is a good time for me to enter because I don't think we'll be seeing 50K for long right after. So for example, a lot of people are speculating that this is what will happen to Bitcoin. This is the bottom that we're looking at, and the bottom is around the 52 to 50K due to the supports that we see right here in the image. Personally, I thought the bear trap was around 60K. I thought a lot of people were going to get liquidated, which they did. On the 60K mark, we had a lot of liquidations. I'm going to show that to you in a little bit, but it kept going down, and I think it will indeed go towards the 50K throughout the next days, maybe weeks, because the government and MT.GOX, just like we explained before, if Justin is actually able to buy the whole shebang, buy the whole amount of crypto from the German government, we will see a relief and pressure from the Bitcoin itself, the Bitcoin situation going down. And that could actually be bullish because a lot of new capital getting into DeFi, into crypto without negatively affecting the market. So we could see green candles after this event, but who knows? I personally don't think this will happen. But if we look at the data, in the last 24 hours, we had $285 million liquidated that they were longing Bitcoin. So they were longing, they were bullish on Bitcoin, and 31 million short positions were liquidated. So again, huge $317 million in liquidations for Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. And this shows us that there's a lot of speculation on the 50K and back again at the $61,000. So these are actually the two spots where people think Bitcoin should move towards, the 61 and the 50K, the 53K. So I know it is scary for you if this is the first time that you see this. There's a lot of negativity in the market. There's a lot of FUD, of FOMO, a lot of emotions that you don't see if you're coming from stock markets or from any other sort of investments. So what can you do? First of all, if you don't have cash to allocate, because at the end of the day, if you're not buying in more Bitcoin right now, you shouldn't be looking at the markets. So stop looking, don't look at news, don't look at crypto news, don't look at TradingView, CoinMarketCap, just leave it alone. If you have capital to buy and you have your favorite coins, you have your favorite assets, this is the time to allocate. This is the time to buy more, because at the end of the day, the cheaper you get it for, and if you're bullish on them long term, this is a once in a lifetime event, as I always say. So for me, two things. If I have money, I will deposit. I will buy more Bitcoin, buy more Ethereum, BNB, Solana, all these assets that I like and that I think they are bullish in the long term. If I don't have any capital, then I'm just going to step out. I'm just going to chill, not focus on the markets, because otherwise I'm going to be too focused on what am I missing, what could I have done different, and that brings me to act without thinking. That even applies for options. So this is the time, statistically speaking, after a bad June, July usually tends to be good. Statistically, with historical data from Bitcoin, July tends to be up 7% in average. So we could see a good July. We could see maybe 7%, maybe 8%, because we have now a huge minus 5% day. Maybe, who knows, we see a 13% up this month. Again, you have to see statistically with historical data. I do believe that we can still have a green month for July. And I took these positions. I opened 2 positions on Ethereum and on Bitcoin by the end of the month. I got them at the money prices, which back then was 60K and 3,500, I think it was, for Ethereum. So these were my positions and they expired by end of the month. So I have the whole month for these assets to at least go back into a profitable place. But Everton, what if Bitcoin goes indeed to 50K? Well, I only have one advice, which again is not financial advice, and that is buy the dip. Everyone likes to say buy the dip, but very little actually act upon the buy the dip mantra. When would you like to buy Bitcoin? At 73,000 at all-time highs? No, you're just going to be a fool like a lot of people who miss entry points because Bitcoin is too low, because Bitcoin is too scary, because there's a lot of volatility. So they just wait for all-time highs and then they enter and then they lose money and they think Bitcoin is a scam. So the best thing that I personally do is buying the dip all the time. You have to be prepared to enter when the market is suffering. When there's hard situations, these are the best opportunities for you to buy more, for you to enter at a cheaper price. When everyone else is trying to sell things, you're trying to buy things. Because at the end of the day, if we do a zoom out, like huge zoom out, I'm not talking about weekly charts, I'm not talking about monthly charts, but you go back and you zoom out to a yearly view of Bitcoin, a yearly view of Ethereum, Solana, whatever top 10 blue chip you have, you do a huge zoom out and you see that we are still bullish. This is just a very, very little movement in a huge scale of years of Bitcoin. So if you zoom out and you have a strong mindset, you know that this is the time to buy the dip. So this is the only advice that I can give you. And with options, this is a good time for you to open leaps, a good time for you to open longer term options, because at the money is very below of what it was just a few weeks ago, maybe just a few months ago. So the at the money price that we have right now, 57K, we most likely won't be seeing these numbers by end of the year. So if you open an option right now at the money, bullish, for the end of the year, maybe you're looking at a winner right there. Again, not financial advice. I think you should do your own research, understand what the market is, zoom out a little bit more than what you used to, and take a look at what you're looking at from a high point perspective. Maybe this was a different video, but because there was a huge movement, I wanted to make a video the same day for you to understand the situations that we're currently in. So thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to have a video tomorrow as normal, and then I'll see you on Monday. So take care. Peace.